Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Astrologer and leadership coach Sarah Waggle here for this new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th, 2023. And the energy leading up to, I mean, if you haven't felt the purge or the gunk coming up, it's ready to be released. This is going to be a very interesting stretch of time, not only prior to this solar eclipse, but even into the eclipse portal in between the two eclipses. We will experience the second lunar eclipse. So we have the solar eclipse, and then we will experience the lunar eclipse on the 28th of October. So October is quite a month. It's a lot of rapid change. The inner planets moving forward rapidly, and eclipse season and aspects happening, and cosmic conversations and whatnot. Let's dive in, and hopefully you have had yourself grounded and supporting yourself through all of the crazy. So let's go on. All right, as usual, my housekeeping announcements. Of course, you can find links to all of these things below in the description box, links to my socials. I am live on Instagram every day. However, I've pretty much cut back on all other social platforms at this time, just the way things are going. You can book a personal write-up with me. I'm working on 3 different levels of this, but for now I have the personal write-up, which is current your natal chart plus current transits and upcoming dates to be aware of. But you can also get just a sun, moon, rising, which is more of like a, here's your sun and moon and rising, but here's the kind of light and dark energy of those. And so kind of gives you a little bit of, it's not just, you can look up a chart online, but what I want to give you is what does it all mean and how do those work together? And so if you are, the dynamic of like a, I don't know, if you are, depending on your dynamic, right? I could say your fixed signs with cardinal signs or whatever, but that may not even make sense to you. So my point in doing the sun, moon, rising was for beginners to astrology who want to understand their main big 3, their sun, their moon, their rising, because we can learn a lot from just the big 3. And then, like I said, I want to create some more tiers around this so that you can not only get your sun, moon, rising, but the rest of your planet placements and perhaps like a little guidance as to what that actually means from an astrological perspective. So you can book with me down below. All of my bookings right now are for, you sign up for it, you pay for it, give me your birth information, and then I will email you a PDF. Of course, documents are available for accessibility reasons. But you'll get emailed a PDF document that tells you all of the information depending on what you signed up for. Okay, you can also listen to my guest appearance on the Hearts Unleashed podcast with Abigail Gazda. I talk about breaking up with your victimhood. And of course, I am available for speaking opportunities, virtual, and of course in person, depending on the location. Join the Awakening Spirit Collective. I've been doing a lot more videos for that. I'm also working on a major tech glitch I'm having with that. But anyway, working things through. But I have been doing a little bit more of teaching types of things and helping people understand like how do eclipses occur and those sorts of things and what that all means and the trajectories of the North and the South Node and Pluto and that sort of stuff. And kind of will be doing monthly, well, I guess not monthly particularly, but based on the sign that the sun will be moving into. So I'll be doing one for Scorpio season, Sag season and beyond. And then I'm also working on another project in the background that I'll be hopefully announcing soon. And then, of course, thank you so much for being a part of my YouTube channel. I very much appreciate you. I appreciate your comments, your likes, your shares, all of that. I just really appreciate you being along this ride with me and all of that. So thanks so much. So here's the energetic overview. We are in a deep cycle right now that kind of culminates at this solar eclipse. But this last week and a half or so has been heavy in the purge, reset, like reinvention place. And it's because we've had a lot of the personal planets, Venus and Mars, switch signs. It's creating quite an energy shift, and we've had some planet conversations that are definitely creating a massive shift. And it's literally a moment of let that shit go. The thing that's no longer serving you, that's no longer, I mean, we hold on to habits and ways of being and memorized behaviors or feelings because it's what we know. And the universe is really supporting us to let old ways, old patterns go. It's things like this just fester in our emotional body, in our physical body, and create problems, create havoc. And so it's kind of like one of those, you can hang on to it, but what is it doing for you? Because what we have to really become aware of and acknowledge is that when we hold on to an emotional attachment behavior or feeling, it festers in our physical body. And so if you, I guess I got to be careful what I say here because YouTube's kind of cracking down on this, but there is the body keeps the score. And if that's a book you haven't heard of, it may be a book maybe worth reading. It is kind of a heavy read because it's a lot of trauma stories, but it does talk about the long-term effects of trauma or hanging on to trauma within the physical body. So it's definitely, with the last week and a half leading up to this eclipse, an opportunity to let go of some old baggage that is really not serving you, that it's literally the thing that's in your way, and step into your power, not only with yourself, but in other relationships, whether it's your work or, friendships, partners, however you'd like to look at that. So set intentions around a whole new way of being, a whole new paradigm scale of being. It's literally an opportunity to reinvent yourself and step into your power. Take what you've learned from the Venus, from the past few years and or your entire life, but also what came up for you during the last 4 months since June of this year when Venus was in Leo. I think that's really important because some shit came up during the Venus retrograde, during the Mercury retrograde. You've had, like, the universe has been calling your attention to whatever this shit is that you're not letting go. And now it's this opportunity to be like, okay, I'm going to hardcore practice a whole different way of being. And so implement practices between these two eclipses. Kind of take this opportunity we have from the 14th till the 28th of October between eclipses to take an opportunity to establish this new way of being. And I recommend that it's taking the time to, when you're in a place that you're trying to let go of, to literally in the moment stop yourself and redirect. And where can you shift the knowledge, the awareness, and then take a different action? This literally comes from practice. And, if you work with a coach, if you work with a spirit guide, if you work with not necessarily a spirit guide, but a spiritual guide, or an astrologer who, has some background in coaching or whatever, personal development, but take those practices that they suggest, recommend, take them on as hard as you can. I feel like 75 hard is a good recommendation, but it's 75 hard in the way of shifting behaviors. 75 hard, if you're not familiar, is like a mental toughness challenge. And for real, take that on, but take on this new identity and own it. Like literally make it your daily, hourly, minutely practice throughout these next 2 weeks to really see how the universe responds to you taking the action. law of attraction, you can call it bullshit if you want to, but I feel like the law of attraction, what people miss is that, if you think it will be, if you have this thought, if you have the thought of healing yourself, then you'll heal yourself. But if you're not researching and implementing, healing or treatments or, tasks that actually implement healing, then it won't happen. I also am a fan, I'm a believer that we co-create our life, we co-create our reality. And so, yes, you can attend all of the coaching sessions, all of the support sessions, all of the retreats, and all of the things, but if you're not actually implementing and trying those practices, and you're done with that way of being when you hang up the phone or get off the Zoom call, then it doesn't actually work. You have to consciously choose to implement practices. Okay, I'm going to jump off my soapbox about that. I feel like I've beaten it. But I think it's really important because I think that we often forget that, yes, you can go and, do the therapy and do the coaching and do the personal development, but you hang up the phone and you forget to actually implement it. And you are the one who has to consciously, intentionally set the stage to implement it new. And I've been through this, I've experienced this where I have had, bad experiences, wanted to complain and shifted it into, wait, where's the gratitude? Where's my gratitude? What can I be grateful for? Okay. And I have even had moments where I'm grateful for stuff I didn't even know, like I missed a train or I missed a bus or whatever. And I'm like, why the hell did I miss that? And it's like, there was something you didn't know. And I think that's something to keep in mind too, is sometimes when we miss the mark, we have to acknowledge that maybe there was something we didn't know. There's a saying that rolls around, like, people who leave your life, like God was in rooms that you weren't in and heard conversations about you that you didn't hear. And we have to kind of own that part or see that part or acknowledge that part, that there's things that we don't know. And so anyway, so implement practices hardcore next 2 weeks as we move between eclipses. Okay. Off my soapbox now. On to talking about some of the transits. I realize that I don't go into a lot of detail, and it's because I don't want to take up a lot of time going into detail about transits, but I do think that there are things that we need to know. Of course, we have Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus, and Chiron still in retrograde. However, Pluto came out of retrograde on the 10th of October. And so there's that. Mercury, who is currently in Libra, flying through Libra, will then move into Scorpio on the 22nd through the 10th of November. So 20 days. So he's flying. Venus is in Virgo from the 8th of October until the 8th of November. I did put 31 days on here because I gave it time, right? It could be 30 days, it could be 31 days. But Venus is at fall in Virgo, meaning she's not exactly happy there. However, at least she's moving forward. She's out of Leo, where she was for 4 months. And so, there is something there. And it's also, important to note that she being in Leo or Virgo at her fall during both the solar and lunar eclipses, which she rules, is important to note with Venus. Mars is in Scorpio from the October 11th until the 13th of November, 33 days. So the inner planets are really flying. And I think that as we move forward, paying attention to our mercurial self, which is our mindset, communications, technology, all of those things. Technology, because it's a means of communication. So anything that is a means of communication, the telephone, writing letters, whatever, is all mercurial energy. Venus, which is our value, our self-worth. Yes, she's the goddess of love, but it's not necessarily about partnerships or relationships. It is, of course, self as well. Mars, which is our drive, our ambition, very masculine energy, and he's in one of his home signs of Scorpio. So if you got some Scorpio placements and you've been looking for that drive to get going, Mars in Scorpio from the October 11th through November 13th will be potentially good for you to get your shit together and get going and get it in gear and really, move forward. But remember that as Venus is in Virgo, she'll aspect the planets in Taurus, which is Uranus and Jupiter in retrograde. Mercury and Mars in Scorpio will also aspect Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. They will also aspect Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So what's interesting about following the inner planets, these are the personal planets because they control, they rule parts of our day, the daily life things. But following these guys right now is they're going to kind of continue on a course together, and which is fairly common. I just think it's more significant right now because of where everything else is. But it's fairly common that these three travel, pretty close to each other, and that right now they're going to be traveling together. And I have looked ahead into 2024, and the course continues. And so as we move through this time, Scorpio is going to give us some power, but Scorpio is also going to bring us into more transformative energy, emotional transformative energy. So if you have a lot of Scorpio placements, you might notice more emotional things coming up, or emotional, deep emotional things. Scorpio is very deep. We some deep motherfuckers. Anyway, so Pluto, of course, is moving forward. He will ingress back into Aquarius in January of 2024. However, he is finishing in Capricorn yet again. We do have one more dose of Pluto in Capricorn. However, it does not get back to 27 degrees. We can be happy about that because the United States will not have another Pluto return. But anyway, so that's kind of a overview look at the transits for now. Of course, you can see my moon astrology tarot videos regularly. I don't mention transits there because I want it to be very basic, but I do talk about the specific energies during the lunation. It's like they're the moon transits. There we go. Okay, so here is the chart for this new moon in Libra. You can see that the new moon peaks at 21 degrees of Libra, which is within 3 degrees of the south node. That's how this is so significant. So eclipses typically occur very near the nodes, but I would say it's a little more rare that it be this close. It's within 3 degrees. We also have Mars having just entered Scorpio and Mercury at 17, which is 3 degrees south, to the other way of the peak of the eclipse. And so that's what makes this so significant. And if you feel like this has been a massive purge, that's why. It's a purge around who you are and how you are in relationships. And it can be any relationship. When we're talking about Libra, it's not just about romance. It is partnerships, friendships, co-workers, a job, your household, your emotions, yourself as a whole. And so you really want to know what house this is occurring in for you. I'm noticing too, and I'll talk about it in the next slide more, but if you are, if your Pluto is in this area of Libra, which it very well might be if you were born between 1978 and 1983, very possibly that your Pluto has been affected, your natal Pluto has been affected by this. Okay, let's take a look. So we have Venus in Virgo, and yet this eclipse is ruled by a Venusian sign. And so we have Pluto having gone direct. However, we still have Saturn and Neptune and Chiron and Jupiter and Uranus still in retrograde. So we still have a lot of retrogrades going on. So there's still quite a bit of processing happening with those outer planets still in retrograde. that those are slow, right? Those are 6-month retrogrades annually. However, I think that what this chart's really pointing us to is this our Libran self. So if you know any Libras, you know they're going through some stuff, right? I do like the fact that Mars is now in Scorpio, because Mars in Scorpio is a little bit more energetic. It's a little more feisty. So if you do have a lot of Scorpio placements, you might start feeling the effect of that as as Mars moves forward. I think also too, I want to point out that the personal planets, which are Mars, Venus, and Mercury, those planets are going to be kind of moving together. It doesn't look like it on this chart, but yeah, it does, because Virgo, Libra, Scorpio in order. And I do think that as they continue to progress forward, and I have looked ahead into 2024, they're going to continue to move forward together. And I think that's going to be significant as we move into 2024. So that's the chart for this eclipse, and I really hope that you've been able to take advantage of the purge of the how you are in relationships, of how you are towards yourself, your relationship with yourself. It's really a reinvention, and to have a reinvention, there must be a purge, there must be a release, there must be a let go. And the South Node, which is sort of the where we came from node in astrology, really allows us to, it shows us and then allows us the space to let it all go. So that's what I have for the chart. Let's move on. All right, so here's some eclipse extras. We get to have a little fun here, and I stole this picture. You can just Google path of the eclipse on October 14th, and you get this image. There are several images, several graphics available, but I like this one because it shows us not only the eclipse for October 14th, but also the full total solar eclipse that's going to be on April 8th of next year, 2024. And what's interesting is this little crisscross right here through Texas. And so the eclipse that we're experiencing this time on October 14th is going to crisscross from northwest, so pretty much the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, Portland, and through Nevada, Utah, parts of Colorado, parts of Arizona, but definitely through Texas. And so Texas is an important state to pay attention to in our nation. Of course, I am based in the United States, so I tend to focus there, of course. And then next year, April 8th, the total solar eclipse is going to cross from the northeast through Indiana, southern Illinois, that area. In fact, personal note, it'll be visible in my hometown, and my hometown is preparing a pretty big celebration for tourism for that solar eclipse. So if you happen to be in my home area, Southeast Illinois, that'll be fun for us to experience there. And it's also going to continue southwest through Texas as well. So you're going to have this crisscross through Texas in the United States. So as if the United States isn't going through enough with having experienced its Pluto return, which is transformation and systems and structures. Now we're getting a double dose of eclipses. And I would also like to note that this is piggybacking. There was a solar eclipse in August of 2017. I have dogs in the background. August of 2017, there was a total solar eclipse that went through Carbondale, Illinois, and therefore it also traveled this similar path as the April 8th eclipse. Dog just sneezed on me. So if you have planets or placements, of course, in the latter parts of Libra, but highly affecting those of us born between 1978 and 1983, because that's where our Pluto resides. And so knowing the house at which your Pluto is in, I think I mentioned this on the previous slide too, but I'll just say it again, is really necessary or important to know what you are actually experiencing. So if you are experiencing this in your second house, for example, it's all about self-worth, valuing yourself, knowing that you are worthy, that you are here for a purpose. If it's in your sixth house, for example, it may be around your routines or your health, or your work routines, your just your daily routines, your daily practices, and things like that. And so it's interesting to note how this eclipse is affecting those of us with that ladder, as in the third decan of Libra. So that's fun to look at, these images of where this eclipse will be visible, and if it's visible there, it's going to create some change around those geographic locations. All right. Okay, let's look at the lunation cycle that we are currently in. Of course, it begins with this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. And then on the 21st, we'll have the first quarter moon square, and that's going to be in Capricorn. And then we will have the lunar eclipse in Taurus. And then the third quarter moon square in Leo. And then the darkening moon will be in Libra. So we are not done with this Libran energy anytime soon, not till January of 2025. And then on the 13th, we will have November 13th, the new moon in Scorpio. And so I feel like I've repeated myself a lot, that this lunation cycle that we're in until mid next year are a little bit challenging because of the difference in the modalities. So Libra and Capricorn and then the darkening moon in Libra are all cardinal signs. And then of course the lunar eclipse, the third quarter moon square, and the new moon will be in fixed signs. So we're kind of going back and forth with this. I mean, we normally do. It's just that typically, if we have a new moon in a cardinal sign, then the entire cycle would be in cardinal signs. That's not what's happening right now, and it is causing a little bit of overall crunchy energy to already existing crunchy energy. But anyway, that's the lunation cycle that we are currently in. Okay, let's move into your sun signs, sun rising signs. So if you know your rising sign, you want to skip to that one first. And if you don't know your rising sign, but you know your sun sign, you can go to that one first. I do recommend, however, that you know your rising sign, because sometimes it can relate better to daily life than your sun sign. Both are significant, of course. And if you are more advanced into astrology and you want to look for your mercurial sign, your Saturn sign, you can view those and just view them from the lens of the archetypes of that planet or the characteristics of that planet. So Aries sun and rising for this solar eclipse on October 14th. Hello, Aries sun and rising. This is your forecast for the solar eclipse, new moon in Libra, which of course is your seventh house, all about partnerships, relationships. So you kind of have the core of it on this one. Definitely going to be some reinvention around partnerships, relationships, and finding balance in life. I would say set this tone for finding balance, justice in relationships, with yourself, with others, with coworkers. And I mean, this is pretty much like the Libran, because it's a Libra new moon in your 7th house, which is Libran. And so this is really that opportunity to just focus on balance. Maybe you've been out of balance with partnerships, with relationships, giving more time giving more time to others than yourself. And so it's literally just this opportunity to create balance around relationships for you, Aries. Taurus, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for the Libra new moon solar eclipse on October 14th. This is for Taurus, Sun and Rising. All right, Taurus, this Libra new moon solar eclipse is in your 6th house of goodness, routines and daily habits, daily practices, your health, things like that. So you may be experiencing, of course, we want to look through the lens of relationships. So it could be a matter of developing a new relationship with routine, developing a new way of being around routine. By that I mean, if you call yourself I'm not a morning person, I don't like mornings, change your language around that. So if you have a different experience of it, create a routine around the morning. I'm just using this as an example. Create a routine around the morning so that you kind of have a reason to wake up at an earlier hour or at an earlier time. And you do this with any habit, of course. So if you want to, if it's easier for you to eat fruits and vegetables, to purchase them pre-cut, do that. Maybe it's watching a YouTube video on how to properly prepare fresh fruits and vegetables, if that's something that you're not familiar with. Or adding more protein, the same kind of thing applies. Maybe it's about getting an Instapot or a smoker or something like that to prepare your meat in a different way. Things like that. This is all around daily habits and your relationship with those daily habits. And of course, your relationship with others who may want to support you or not support you in having healthier habits. So that's what I have for Taurus, Sun and Rising. Gemini, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. This is for Gemini, Sun and Rising. All right, Gemini, this new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 5th house, heart-centered self, and this could be redirecting, reinventing your heart-centered, leading from your heart, having a childlike or playfulness about yourself, having a joyfulness about yourself, and really reinventing how you are on a daily basis around being more playful, being more fun. It also could, of course, be around inner child wounds and those sorts of things. And it may be a time to be done, sort of release and choose to move forward from a more healed perspective of your inner child wounds. Many of our wounds stick with us most of our life. It's a matter of how we choose to engage or interact with those wounds. So, but definitely, perhaps it's leading from your heart, being more playful and just being more childlike and having fun. Have fun, Gemini. Cancer, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for the new moon in Libra on October 14th. This is for Cancer, Sun and Rising. All right, Cancer, Sun and Rising. This new moon solar eclipse is happening in your fourth house of emotions, maternal, home life, those sorts of things. And maybe this is a reinvention of your home life. Things are not going well, and you are ready to have a restart, have a reinvention of your home life. And of course, this could include your relationship. The Cancer could be the breakup sign. Cancer, Sun, and Rising, you could be the breakup sign. You could be the sign that could face some breakups or at least some shakeups. And it doesn't have to mean a breakup. Maybe it's just you're not on the same page as who you're sharing space with, and it's, maybe it's time to get some therapy or some support around the relationship, or just be able to outwardly express your emotions in how you feel about your home situation, your foundation situation. So that's what I have for Cancer for this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. Leo, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra for October 14th. This is for Leo, Sun and Rising. All right, Leo, Sun and Rising. This is for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra on October 14th. And this is occurring in your third house of mindset, communication, etc. And so, since we are talking Libra, it could be around balancing, creating a balance around your mindset, creating a balance in your communication, how you communicate with your partner or with your coworkers or whomever. How you communicate to yourself. Of course, we always, want to make sure that we're, speaking of ourself in a kind way or compassionate way. And so all of this around this Libra new moon, Libra is all about relationships, partnerships, balance. And so there seems to be that you would want to practice communicating in a productive, constructive way and manner with whomever you are around or in service of. Maybe you need to clean up how you communicate to those that you serve or just those that you're around. But yeah, finding a balance around your mindset, your communication is definitely what I'm feeling for this new moon. So this is for Leo, Sun and Rising. Virgo, Sun and Rising. This is your new moon outlook for the new moon on October 14th in Libra. All right, Virgo, Sun and Rising. This new moon is happening in your second house of self-worth, value, money, finances. I'm getting all kinds of discombobulated today. Keep trying to say the wrong words. But anyway, so this really is about you acknowledging your worth and value. I feel like Virgos get a lot of hate, probably from me. If anybody knows me, I'm not a huge fan of Virgo. I love Virgo people. I don't love Virgo characteristics because I'm just not I'm not an over analyzer, and I'm not an organization. Anyway, I'm not a neat freak. And I feel like a lot of Virgos are neat freaks. But anyway, I digress. I love you, Virgos. But do you love yourself? Are you practicing speaking to yourself compassionately? Are you practicing, giving yourself gratitude for what you've been through, the healing journey you've been on, the work that you've done, like whatever that looks like for you? And also, this is, practicing on a regular basis, knowing your power. Because knowing your power is knowing your worth. And I have zero doubt that every Virgo that's listening to this, every Virgo sun, Virgo rising, is a powerful human being. And you are servants. Servants, you serve. the Virgo is harvest. And so it's the seeds that you plant that are planted that create the Virgo harvest. And so as we are talking about self-worth and value and finances and all of those things, it's acknowledging and expressing gratitude for what you have created, what you've harvested, and it's being compassionate when you do something imperfect, and showing yourself that you are worthy, that you're valuable, that you're powerful, that you do bring something to the table, obviously, since you harvest. But you are a servant, you have a servant's heart. And so, acknowledging that for yourself, this really feels like a self reinvention of, really practicing being different towards yourself. So that's what I have for Virgo, Sun, and Rising. Libra, this is your sun and rising. This is your outlook for the Libra new moon solar eclipse on October 14th. This is for Libra, sun, and rising. All right, Libra, I'm feeling for you. I really am, because I just had a south node in my first house, and now you have a south node in your first house, so you're having an eclipse in your first house, and it is not fun, is it? You definitely, I'm a Scorpio rising, so I just went through 18 months of this, so you are in the biggest transformation for you that you can experience. It's definitely stirring up a lot of gunk. And for Librans, I really feel like Libra is going through a lot of hell, because a lot of gunk, a lot of shit is being stirred up. All of these wounds, all of these people pleasing, or everybody else gets to have it their way and I don't. And Libra, you're going through this transformative time of, I want it this way, I don't really care what anybody else wants. And it sucks, because it's not normally what a Libra experiences or wants to experience. Librans typically want others to have an experience, and they neglect themselves. And unfortunately, or fortunately, the universe is like, nope, I actually want you to experience life for you. And so there's a lot of deep healing work, a lot of deep, move forward type work for Librans here. So I'm definitely certain that you have already been feeling this, particularly for the last week and a half, as Mars went through the South Node and made its aspects to Pluto. Especially if you have Libra planets or points in the 20 to 29 degrees of Libra area. This has been some tricky energy, and it's going to continue to be. And it's okay. It's an opportunity to create a lot of growth, to shift a lot of behavior, to shift a lot of emotions, to shift a lot of wounds, and to heal a lot of crud. And just it's really just re-expressing or reinventing how you express what you actually want in life. So I feel like Libra, you're going through the biggest transformation. Again, you have my sympathy. I have been through this. It is not fun and it's not easy, but I also have every confidence that Librans are some powerful motherfuckers, and they're going to get through this and soar out of it. And so as this solar eclipse happens in your first house, it's all about how you are choosing to be to other people in relationships, and that you're having a lot of gunk come up around how, the universe likes to show you what you don't want to see sometimes. So it's how you're treating others that you may be unconscious of, that you're not even aware of, that you're like, damn, I was talking that way to people? Shit. And really wanting to clear that up and clear that out. Perhaps some apologies. Maybe some apologies. I don't know. That just came through. but it's all about how you want to show up to the world, to others, and especially for yourself. So that's what I have for Libra, Sun, and Rising for this solar eclipse. Scorpio, Sun, and Rising. This is your forecast for the Libra solar eclipse on October 14th. This is for Scorpio, Sun, and Rising. All right, Scorpio, Sun, and Rising. This new moon is happening in your 12th house of duality, spirituality, karmic cycles. You may be reinventing your relationship. Of course, we want to look at this from the lens of relationships, partnerships, and balance because we're talking about Libra. You are reinventing or reestablishing or solidifying, balancing your relationship with your spiritual self, with your spirit guides, with duality, acknowledging that you are a spiritual, energetic being living in a meat suit, living a human experience. There definitely could be some karmic cycles ending as far as your power around your spiritual self, like acknowledging how powerful you are and or can be when you are connected to your spiritual self. Very much a spiritual cleanse, or it's really about just I don't want to say cleanse. That is not the right word. What is the right word? It's an old cycle that you are like letting go and then stepping into this spiritual, powerful being that you are. Scorpios have some power. They have some wisdom. We're starting to get into Scorpios, the 8th sign of the zodiac. And so Scorpios are really starting to step into that real older wisdom aspect of us humans. And Scorpio is kind of where the transformation takes place. However, Scorpio is a fixed sign, so stubborn as hell and have to be walloped over the head a million times. I mean, every Scorpio that I've ever known, myself included, has to have the universe literally punch them in the face to learn a lesson. Like, it's never easy with Scorpio because it's a fixed sign, because it's stubborn. However, you've known about this for a long time because we just had the South Node in Scorpio until July of this year. So none of this is new. You're just finally letting go. Okay, I get it now. I get that I have to acknowledge my spirituality. I have to acknowledge God, source, universe, spirit, work with it, co-create with source, co-create with spirit in order to move forward. And I have zero doubt that you are capable of doing this. We are all very capable scorpionic beings. But remember your emotional body, your physical body, and acknowledge the duality of it all. So that's what I have for Scorpio for this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. This is your outlook for the new moon solar eclipse on October 14th. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. This new moon solar eclipse in Libra is happening in your 11th house of groups, communities, and technology. You may be having a reinvention about groups or communities that you're involved with, maybe redirecting or moving on to a new group or new community. You may be reinventing or reestablishing your role in a local community or group that you're involved in. This could even be a social media group that you may be the moderator for, or any other platform that you are a moderator for a group, or a community could be involved with this 11th house solar eclipse. But it's really about you maybe finding balance, or finding, like I said, finding your, gaining your ground on your role in the community or group, or with technology. You could be reinventing your relationship with technology in general, maybe embracing some new technology, or, maybe you're going on social media, maybe you're going off of social media, maybe you've had enough of social media. You're a pretty social sign, so I don't see you going off of social media. However, there could be just a reinvention, or maybe setting some boundaries with social media, but definitely something around groups, communities, technology, your role, how you participate in these areas. That's for Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. Capricorn, Sun and Rising. This is your forecast outlook for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. This is for Capricorn, Sun and Rising. All right, Capricorn. Time to be a Capricorn. Time to be your Capricorn self. This is happening in your 10th house. 10th house is Capricorn themes. So it is all about work. It is all about getting after the marathon, the long-term goals, the public achievements, the public recognition, all of those sorts of Capricornian things. So I love this for you. I love that this is, Capricorns have been through a lot with Pluto in your sign, or in your first house if you're Capricorn rising. So this could potentially be like a reinvention. Like, you've been through kind of the ringer of transformation, and now you're ready to step into a more public role, as far as your work goes or public achievement goes, and you are coming out more powerful than ever. And so this could really be a great time for you to, step up in those, like I said, long-term marathon goals that you have been up to. This is for Capricorn, Sun, and Rising. Aquarius, Sun and Rising. This is your new moon solar eclipse outlook for the new moon in Libra on October 14th. This is for Aquarius, Sun and Rising. All right, Aquarius, Sun and Rising. This new moon is occurring in your 9th house of expanding your horizons, growth, education, potentially, philosophizing, those sorts of things. I feel like for Aquarius, we've been talking a lot about Aquarius being Aquarius, and it's Aquarius needing to, or wanting to, or desiring to, perhaps being forced to be more joyful in their intellect. And I think since the 9th house is about expansion or broadening, but it's creating more joy or being happy knowing that you're an intellectual nerd, knowing that you are a good leader with your wisdom. Aquarius is definitely about wisdom, and it's you acknowledging your power in sharing your wisdom. You have a lot to offer this world. We are counting on you. We are counting on us, because I'm actually an Aquarius sun. But experiencing joy in that, in your uniqueness, in your wisdom. When I think when we get into talking about something that we are excited about, whether it's video games or, technology or whatever it is, like whatever our hobby is or whatever our passion is, whether it's, like I said, whether it's video games or art or astrology or, personal development or whatever, we can kind of get on our soapbox about it. as you heard me do earlier on in this video, and as I do all the time, is I get to get on my soapbox and talk about shit that I love and that I'm passionate about. And I can tell you from, being around groups of people for a long time who've seen me kind of go through my own transformation process, that as I have stepped into this role of like, I'm a wise person, I'm an intellect. I love to study, I love to research, I love to learn and get through, the cycles and whatnot. But people see my joy, right? And I think that's what I mean for an Aquarius who happens to find joy in intellectual things, is allowing yourself to broaden or expand into this being who is damn right I'm intellectual, damn right I'm a nerd, damn right I'm a geek, damn right I love video games, superheroes, whatever it is, right? I keep thinking of like the Big Bang Theory type characteristics of what an Aquarius would be. I don't think any of it, well, maybe we are some Sheldon Coopers out there, but either way, my point is that when people as Aquarians step into that wisdom intellectual role, people see the joy of that. And no matter how awkward it may be, you can see somebody's joy, and taking ownership of and acknowledging that, yep, I'm a nerd. Yep, I'm not as flamboyant maybe as a Leo or a Sag, but I love this topic. I love talking about it. I love doing it. I love researching it, whatever it is, right? So I think it's an opportunity, Aquarius, to really, release your fears or self-consciousness around people not getting it, and just being it, showing up and being it. So that's what I have for Aquarius, Sun, and Rising for this new moon. Pisces, Sun, and Rising. This is your outlook for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. This is for Pisces, Sun, and Rising. All right, Pisces, Sun, and Rising. This new moon solar eclipse is happening in your 8th house, which is financial and intimate mergings. It's also transformation. So you could be reinventing your relationship with a financial partner, with a romantic partner. You could also be experiencing some wounds coming up that are ready to be transmuted or transcended or healed, and things that are surfacing are basically just wanting you to acknowledge them and move through them and release them from your being, so that you can, work with those wounds from a more healed perspective. And so you may have those coming up for you. So lots of different aspects here for Pisces, but who knows where it's something around this transformative energy, and it being an eclipse, it's demanding transformation, and so maybe it's just transformation, and you Pisces could be that breakup sign too. Although I don't know, I think there could be some breakups, but it could happen for any sign at this point, as all of us are moving through like a transformative moment. But for certain, Pisces, Sun and Rising, going through some transformation, seeing some dark, shadowy behaviors that are ready to be, are ready to be shifted and changed and redirected as we move through this solar eclipse. That's for Pisces, Sun, and Rising. That's going to do it for this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. Please check out the links below in the description box if you would like to know your sun, moon, rising, or if you'd like a thorough astrology write-up. I have both of those available. Please like, share, and subscribe and comment. I very much appreciate your engagement. It does help boost the algorithm, but I honestly just like having the comments on my video. It's very nice to open my YouTube too. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you for the next, of course, the regular moon astrology tarot videos. And then, of course, we will be doing the sun and rising signs for the lunar eclipse in Taurus that will be on the 28th. So we look forward to that. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.